Hi there. Welcome to Awaken Leading Edge Masterclasses on Spirit Self and the Quantum Revolution. I'm your host for this event, Theresa Pridemore, owner of Sovereign Spirit. And for this talk, we are diving into what it takes to create in the quantum field. There's a lot of new information that has been coming through for, I think, a lot of healers, empaths, psychics, channelers about what's going on in the quantum realm right now and how we're shifting into 5D consciousness. And like the old rules of law of attraction are changing. Everything is changing. The landscape is changing. So I want to dive into that with you today and talk a little bit about what it is, what it's looking like on the horizon for us with all the changes that are coming in the quantum field at this time. So if you meditate or work with the law of attraction, you are familiar with working in the quantum field. And there's an act of surrender to the universe, right? Not to say without some divinely guided action on your part in removing resistance to the things that you've already set up as desires in your field. If you've walked this walk a while, you probably run into the problem of it not feeling consistent, despite your level of total surrender and acceptance that you're abundant and have access to all these desires in your field, right? Well, here's why it doesn't always work. We're working through the unconscious layer of human thought and belief when we create sometimes, despite our best efforts to keep a clean channel open. It's like working from an old operating system and not having access to the updated code. The truth is that we're in the process of moving beyond the law of attraction, because the leading edge thinkers on our planet have created a reality where what you think and feel doesn't have to determine the outcome. This is a big shift. And the simple act of being and deserving is powerful enough to unlock your desires. So there's a big ask of us here is to believe ourselves deserving of what we want to create in our lives, of what we want to manifest in our lives. That is the key work there, is working with our deservingness and healing any thoughts we have about not deserving things. Now, it's not to say that this change is going to get there immediately, that it's happening immediately. It's underway right now. And part of awakening that we're going through right now is us transitioning into what my guides are calling an alpha state of awareness that permeates our everyday life, not just a special situation that happens when we meditate. And it puts us in touch with the flow state of the universe itself and how that force expresses in our lives individually. We literally become barometers for how to get to the places we want to in life. Our bodies operate differently. We can sense into things more. That gut instinct is stronger because we're so clear about who we are and what we desire, that we are beacons to everything we need to create what we want. We are not waiting as much on the universe to deliver, and we are more walking the path to deliverance without effort, or with far less effort. Now, as time moves on, this sense of effort will change for us too. This notion that we have that we're efforting will turn into a whole different vibration as well. That is also changing. But there are rituals and visualizations and meditations that you can do to open yourself up to the quantum field. And you're probably already doing a lot of that already. It's all these things are great ways to explore your desires fully from a clear and awake state. I mean, I think that one of the best tools is meditation. And whenever we are in a meditative trance state, things enter into our consciousness that allow us to clearly see who we really are and what that self desires beyond our everyday wants and needs and the things that we have to figure out to like make things happen. We get clear on what it is that's really wanting to come in. And then we get to operate from that deeper desire and deeper level of self. And that changes how we manifest as well. Um, so half the battle really is knowing what it is you're chasing, right? And we don't want to chase, we want to allow, we want to bring it in. But I mean, we don't want to we don't want it to wait for it to jump through the window and amaze us, I guess. There's this sense that sometimes when we're trying to manifest things, we're just waiting for it to just like show up. And it's not to say that we won't be amazed. It's a good practice actually to ask for signs that things are in flow, because you're going to get all kinds of miraculous situations that remind you that you're on the path. And I think sometimes we just need that. We need to be reminded that things are actually developing and evolving in, in every way possible to get us what we need and desire, right? Well, the thing to know is the earth is healing, and our ability to call in more magic is dependent on that healing as much as it is our own healing. The earth's shifts and changes are really, really deeply important to this change. Sometimes old trauma stories that seem to hold us back will light up in us because we're in a contract to heal others and take them on this journey with us. Now, that may be your dharma. You may know that this is the case. For those of you who notice that you're always in a process of healing others through your example, you may have endured a lot, and you know that that offers you the opportunity to support other people going through similar changes, right? Or similar difficulties. However, it's important to know that Earth is moving into a new vibrational state where being an example of wholeness is creating more ripples of change. And even the opportunity to be whole without trauma, struggle, or strife and still be an example to other people. So it's not to say that there aren't so many valuable things to be gleaned from the difficulties and challenges that you have been through, but we are not necessarily identifying with the idea that someone has to go on a healing journey in order to offer a healing journey. That's starting to change. But of course, some of us have endured so much, and we do have the opportunity to support other people that have gone in similar directions or have had similar problems. But here's the thing, we can choose to let go of these old contracts and adopt new ones. The true goal of working in the quantum field is to become entirely you. It's really about you being you, your full self, your full high self embodied here on this planet, not actually thinking of ourselves as an avatar. you know, I think that that is not necessarily a thing that we are holding on to in the future. We're starting to bring all of that past life stuff, all of that full self down into our bodies and into a state of co-creation with us in a deeper way than we ever have before. So that's also changing. That is a change that's going on at this time. And the thing is that time may seem to speed up once you're on this journey. Things that seem difficult before become easier and happen more quickly. So set yourself up for a slow road to success in many cases. Just understand that things may take time. A teacher I know, Tara Nicole Kirk, says, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So adopt an attitude of taking it smooth. We don't always need the big quantum leap right away. It can happen a step at a time. Things get done, and we marvel at the speed when we take it a day at a time. That's the paradox of the situation is once you slow it down and allow things to happen in their own divine timing, funny how things start to happen faster than you could even dream possible. You may have a history of things seeming to take forever to get to you and be in a constant agitated state of waiting and waiting and waiting, moving into a flow state where things start to just evolve. You're listening to your guidance. You're taking the next logical step. You're listening for what's next. You may do something you don't expect. You may take a risk you never thought you'd take, but you feel ready today. And things just start to move in that direction faster than they have before. So you may find that things do move faster when you are willing to take it slow and take things a moment at a time. Take it a day at a time. So how do you create in the quantum field in this new state of being? First of all, you align yourself with the new earth. That's simple intention right there. Really, it's just a matter of deciding. Just decide you want to live on the new earth consciously, and the unconscious mind will follow. Things will start to flow to you in that direction, right? When my spirit guide showed up on the eve of my Kundalini awakening, he said, "Do you want to come to the real world?" And I knew with every bone in my body that I was a yes, a strong yes. Like, I don't know how I knew what that meant, but I knew that there was a real world waiting for me. And then the most amazing things started happening after I said yes to that. And now, when you do, determine you want the smooth and flowing road, okay? We are moving beyond polarity. Polarity consciousness is starting to fall away. We don't need as much contrast to fire big rockets of desire like we used to. So don't decide your awakening comes with a price tag of freaking you out, okay? Doesn't have to. Put out your intent to have it smooth and easy. That's really important. And then the fun begins. You just start saying what you want. You just say what you want. Say it to yourself, say it to other people, people that you are safe sharing your dreams with. Share what you need. Say, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. It's really funny how when we start to open our energy field up and let ourselves be excited, let ourselves share, things start lining up, okay? And be open to how it happens. It's really all the usual information about manifesting your desires. However, you'll notice that you show up differently and will find yourself better able to respond. You'll hear the opportunity. You'll want to go after it. You won't shut down. You won't freak out. You won't panic and then back off. Okay. I had this opportunity when I was 17 to get a book in the hands of someone who might be able to help me get published. And I was so well, I wasn't expecting that to happen for one. And when it did, I thought I need to go revise this again before I send off because I was so like paranoid that it wasn't any good. And I never sent it. I was so caught up in the freak out of this big quantum leap that I could have possibly had with the support of someone who cared about my career as a young writer. Like I don't know what could have happened. And now I'm in a whole different place. My vibrational state is different. Someone gives me an opportunity, I say yes, or if I'm not a full yes, I evaluate what I need in order to be a yes, or what it is I need instead. There's a lot of free will here. And there's a lot of opportunity to explore and find the perfect fit thing for you, because that's part of the deal. The universe wants to give you the perfect fit thing. So you may evolve your desire as you go along. It doesn't mean you failed in achieving what you want if you didn't actually get what you wanted. You probably changed your mind about what you wanted along the way. Anyway, so you need to expect to take acceptable risks, okay? We're losing the old fear-based models of creating. We are redefined as adventurers and dynamic co-creators with the universe. In fact, I covered in my other talk for this event about the rainbow, which is a grid for the makeup of the new Earth being born. We literally meet in our astral bodies there in the rainbow to brainstorm solutions to our individual problems and desires, with knowing that if everyone's needs are met, then the collective will also get its needs met. I'm going to say that again. When our individual needs are met from the highest level, from our higher self guidance, then the collective's needs are met. Doesn't mean we don't take direct action in life, support the causes that we need to support, but it does mean that everything changes when we start to be grounded. In fact, we have more reserves, more resources at our disposal to help others or to be there for the collective transitions that need to happen when we are succeeding in the things that we want to create, okay? But this is a truly creatively awakened place where we each are true to ourselves, and our desire to help others is stronger there in the rainbow than it is here. So you don't have to, you may think, well, my aunt Diane doesn't actually, uh, really, she's not a very helpful person. I can't imagine my Aunt Diane actually wanting to do anything on my behalf. Well, in the rainbow, she's herself, okay? And we are ourselves. And when we are truly ourselves, we are there for each other. And we are there for this whole thing. We are ready for it. So let the rainbow be a magical place where co-creation does actually happen. Things will organize and reorganize as we unfold on that layer. So there's a dynamic nature to it. Things change all the time. You change what you want, then everyone changes how they respond. It's constantly shifting, flowing. So that's the key, is to be in the flow, in the moment to moment evolution, okay? Here's the thing about knowing about the rainbow. I think it brings us to a new level of trusting and appreciating the people in our lives because we begin to sense their co-creative involvement in our success on every level of existence. This brings us into greater oneness with each other. It's really powerful. I noticed that so many of my relationships started changing because I was opening up to the rainbow. And I found that Aunt Diane, I don't have an Aunt Diane, but, so to speak, was actually suddenly in a whole different vibrational relationship with me, and things were working more smoothly than ever before. So, in short, you're not alone, and you're going to realize it more so with each passing day. You remember you're not alone. That is a big message. You really aren't. Not only is the universe conspiring in your favor, Gaia, the goddess, all the angels and guides and beings that are at your side, there are going to be more and more people there for you as well, given your commitment to flow. Okay. So we move beyond just having the universe have our back. We have stepped into an era where we also have each other's backs in ways never before possible. Never before possible. Now, I want to go back and speak again to those who have consistently had trouble with manifestation. Let's just remove all ideas that this is your fault or your poor thinking caused it. You couldn't pivot. Some things are really hard to pivot. There's a lot of information that contributes to our thoughts and our patterns of thought that are beyond our control. And we don't talk about that enough when we talk about the law of attraction. There are things at work that are bigger and kind of they're trouble. Okay. So as you've probably heard the saying, our thoughts think themselves. In some cases, that is the case. So we won't go into that here, but just remember, it's not just you. You're not failing, okay? Just don't think that way. Um, you know, just here's the thing. You are probably doing everything quote unquote right in your thinking or in your efforts to work within the law of attraction. But here's the thing, Earth is on a trajectory of healing. We don't all operate in the same Earth timeline as others. This is another factor in manifestation. So some of us are in the lower expression of Earth, timeline wise. So Earth has its own timeline of healing, and it doesn't doesn't entirely follow historical linear time. Okay, all time is now. And some of us are contracted to heal and help others rise up the rungs. Okay, so they can come into a more current timeline of where Earth actually is in her healing journey, right? And here at the higher rungs, if you're exhausted, you might be exhausted by being at a lower rung, okay? But when we're at the higher rungs, things move faster, okay? And the power at the lower rungs to manifest is really challenging due to old modes of consciousness. It's just really tough to manifest when we are in an old timeline. So here's what I would suggest. If you're up for it, maybe ask your guides to rise you up later in the timeline where the power of co-creation is much stronger, where the collective consciousness has moved closer to the rainbow, to these ideas of co-creation. Asking to let go of contracts to heal people at lower rungs is the thing that we can decide to do and get support in doing. So if you kind of think of yourself as someone who's always on the hook to help other people, then you might be in an old consciousness. And it takes some courage, I think, to decide to let go of that identity and to move into a place of wholeness so that you can be a shining light, right? As opposed to on the hook all the time to rescue other people. We're more helpful when we are whole. That is the truth. Okay. Doesn't mean you abandon people or you're not there. In fact, I find that I'm way more helpful to people now that I've got a clear energy frequency because I'm at a different level of consciousness around being a support to people. It doesn't drain me as much. It's not as difficult. I move differently with it, you know, But I will say that I'm way more relaxed. I'm doing the things I want to do more. And I think it takes a lot to release any leftover martyrdom that we might have, because martyrdom doesn't necessarily allow us to take people with us, unfortunately. It doesn't hold a high vibrational model for people to follow. So maybe not falling for that is a key thing for us to do, okay? Um, but anyways, if you move up later in the timeline, it may not solve all the issues, but you might notice your barometer works better and things start to smooth out for you in time. After a while, you heal from the notion that things don't work out for you. It does take time, but it'll happen. And it becomes easier to trust in the flow that's going to emerge out of that. And that is the big deal here. It's called quantum flow, is what I call it. You want to get into quantum flow state where things just keep organizing themselves on your behalf. I have literally had dates move, not dates, but events move, time, not an event, but like an appointment move in my calendar on its own to a better time. I don't know how that got rescheduled, but it got changed somehow. And it surprised me. And I remembered what it was originally scheduled as, and it was not the same date in my calendar. And I was so grateful because it was so much better. Like that is a miracle. And those kinds of things start to happen more when you're in quantum flow state. But at this point, I try to just say out loud what I want to my guides and then do whatever next step that feels right and flowing and go from there and stay in quantum flow and just be in openness to what the next action might be and trusting those divine hits and those intuitions, okay? You also find that your ability to receive guidance becomes more adept after you move into the new Earth mock-up. You have more access to all that insight. So you might get those next steps with greater ease and clarity. Things might just start to come together. You might have ahas that just kind of drop in and you go, why didn't I ever think of that before? You just start thinking in a whole new way. And you will have more risk tolerance. And you will find that a lot of your risks pay off, the risks you take pay off too. And you look at it the light of day like months later and you're like, that wasn't actually that risky. That made sense. That's what I find sometimes. Feels really risky in the moment. And I look back and I'm like, that was actually a very logical step to take. So, but yeah, I just want you to know that there's a lot of support for you here at this event. I'm sure you found people here that you resonate with who have so much to share with you, so much that really is hitting for you. So if you're looking for someone to connect you with your 5D self more fully and wanting to evaporate anything out of your space that holds you back from doing the things you want to do, or if you're having situations arise that confound your sense of reality and you're like, what is going on? I don't even know. No, it's magic, but I don't know how to roll with this because there's a lot of that flying around right now. Here's the thing. It's my experience that you don't do it alone. Really need validation from others. You need support. Things begin to flow the more we tap into these gifts and learn to find ease with a new way of being. And that needs community, okay? All right. So don't do it alone. Well, that's it for this talk. I hope you found some great nuggets in this teaching. Reach out to me if you could use some support on your journey. I would love to be there for you. And I want to say blessings to you and all you hold dear. I hope you enjoy the conference and take great care of yourself, okay? Bye for now.